Afternoon, YouTube. It is I, Danielle, better known as Danielle, Happy Medium. And off the back of my training weekend, which I've just done, we're going to talk in this video or this content about psychic attacks. Can psychic attacks really happen? And how we could be drawing psychic attacks into us and how we can stop that. So to understand psychic attacks or to understand what it is that I'm talking about, what we have to understand here is that when we talk psychic, it means the person, the auric field. This has nothing to do with the spiritual realms. So what tends to happen is us as humans, when we think about somebody in particular, what we can do is send our thoughts, because our thoughts are living things, out into the universe, which is the 3D world that we live in. Now, the snag with this is you can only attack or psychically attack somebody else if that other person is thinking about you at the same time. Now, what we have to understand with the law of attraction or the law of this universe or the 3D world in which that we live in, because remember, the spirit world doesn't live here. The spirit world lives in another realm of another energy realm, which is of another consciousness. So when we talk about psychic attacks, we're talking about what goes on down here on the earth world. So what we have to understand about our thoughts is that each thought has a particular like or dislike. So when we talk about psychic, normally it is because we either dislike somebody or because we're genuinely interested in what that other person is doing. So ex-partners maybe, ex-girlfriends, family members, work colleagues, whatever it may be, people in which that we associate with on a day-to-day basis. And because thoughts have the power to manifest it in many different ways, we can use these for either good things or bad things. It just depends on what intention that you put to that particular thought. Same as the intention that we put to the thought to when we want to connect to the spiritual realms. So it's all thought-based matter here. But what we have to remember is that psychic means us. Psychic means our energy. Psychic means the auric field and what sits within our auric field or within our mind when we are just here to the earth. This is where the spirit world has absolutely nothing to do with it. But what we have to also understand and recognize is that you can't psychically attack anybody, nor can you affect anybody with your thoughts or with your energy unless you allow it. And that person has to be thinking about you, or that person has to be connected to you through their thought-based matter in order for them to pick up your thoughts, or vice versa, you to pick up theirs. So what we have to remember is that we are attracting whatever we're thinking. So for example, I've fallen out with somebody and I'm quite annoyed at that person, and that person sort of really got and ticked me off. And I'll be thinking, oh, you getting on my nerves and these types of things, as we all do. That my thought pattern cannot affect that other party unless that other party is thinking about me and has picked that up. Therefore, we have to be very selective about what we think about and what we don't think about, and therefore what we attract in and what we push out into the universe. So when I hear people talk to me about psychic attacks and people pinching my link on a rostrum, or people are interfering with my connection on a rostrum, they can't be affecting you in any way, shape or form with your mediumship, because your mind isn't of the earth world. Your mind is in another realm with the spiritual world. So when people talk to me about pinching links, or this medium's interfered with my energy, or this medium's interfered with my connection to the spirit world, they cannot, because ultimately if your mind is in the spiritual realms, their mind isn't in the spiritual realms, yours is. So therefore they can't affect you or your link, because they can't interfere with the communication, because you're involved in the communication, not them. What can happen is if you're working on a psychic level and that particular individual is pushing thoughts at you, and you are aware of that individual in the congregation and your mind goes there, you will then pick up their stuff, because your thoughts have aligned with their thoughts, and therefore you can either, whether it's in a positive or a negative way, you will pick them up. I.e., say for example, I was doing a demonstration of mediumship, but I was working purely just on a psychic level. What would happen is if I was worried about the person in the back who was quite a good medium, who would come along to watch me work for the particular evening, and I would become very aware of that, and I become aware that they were sitting there, and I'd be wondering what they thought of the demonstration, straight away, my thought-based matter has gone to that particular person. Whatever they've been thinking about me, I can pick up, and therefore that can and will affect my energy, because one, I've allowed it in, two, my thoughts have lined up with them, and therefore I've allowed that to interfere with me, is the psychic. Because remember, the psychic energy, psychic attack, is only about the walking world. Lots and lots of people come to me and talk to me about psychic attacks, and where mediums, or where people think mediums are pinching their particular link or interfering with their evidence to the spirit world, or whatever it may be. I can categorically tell you here and now, if you understand the thought-based matter and how the conscious mind is shifted from one realm to another when we're working with the spirit world, there is no possible way that that could go on, because ultimately you're communicating with the spirit world and not with that particular person that's sitting in the room. And therefore you can't pick their thought-based matter up, because ultimately that would be on a psychic level. And as a medium, you shouldn't be working on a psychic level. You should have moved your consciousness and be in the spiritual world. Remember, nobody can affect your energy or psychically attack you unless you're already lining your thoughts up with that individual, good, bad, or indifferent. So when people come to me and talk to me about psychic attacks, this is about the best way I can break it down. If you're thinking about them, then you've got every chance that you're probably going to pick that thought-based matter up. If you're not thinking about them, then they can't affect you in any way, shape, or form. It is only when you allow that to enter your energy or enter your mind space will you become aware of it, and will it ultimately allow it to affect you. It is the same with anybody who says anything about us here on the earth plane. It is subsequently up to us whether we allow their thoughts to or words to harm us or choose not to. We are in control at all times when it comes to mediumship. And those who tell me that mediums pinch their links or interfere with their energy, or all these types of things that I hear so frequently from my students, there's no possible way that that can happen in a congregation or in a personal setting, because your mind should be in the spirit world and not with the walking world, because you're not working psychically, right? You're working mediumistically. So I hope this has cleared up a few of the questions that I picked up when I was doing a training course at the weekend with some of my students and some of the new students. Thank you very much for all of those who continue to like, subscribe and share. And hopefully I will be seeing you lot all very, very soon.